What's going on, guys? It's Eric again, back with another video. And as you guys can tell, I have the 2021 Detroit Lions season schedule up here. I really don't think this is going to be a good year for the Detroit Lions under Dan Campbell's first year. I really think there's just too many holes that they really haven't addressed yet. Although, how could they really address everything in 1 year? You really can't. I think it's going to take another... realistically, it's going to take another 2 to 3 years, and that's if they do the right things here to get the Detroit Lions in a position to be contenders here. But I'll kind of allude that kind of in here just a little bit more here. As you can tell, I got the first 4 weeks up here. I'm not going to be very kind here to the Detroit Lions. It's only because, and like I said, we'll get into it earlier, the Lions just have too many holes here. So I have week 1 with the San Francisco 49ers. The second week with the Green Bay Packers, the third week with the Baltimore Ravens, and the fourth week with the Chicago Bears, as you guys can see here. Realistically, I think it's 1-4 here going through the first quarter. I don't think they go to San Francisco or San Francisco. I think actually comes here, I think is what it is, and they get a win in Ford Field. As it's right there on the right-hand side. It says Ford Field on it. With that being said here, guys, I really don't see this team. They very well could be 0-4 here, too. Let's be realistic. I really don't see this team doing much here. I think there's just too many holes in this team, especially with the San Francisco 49ers. I know they're trying to kind of get through their quarterback kind of situation over there, but I think they're the better team. I think the Green Bay Packers are above and far the better team than the Lions, and so are the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm really going to focus on those 3 here for right now, and kind of getting in here just a little bit to why I think the Lions are going to be not a very good team here. Those first 4 games, guys, are going to be kind of telling of how the Lions are going to be coming into the rest of the season. I just think Jared Goff just doesn't have the receivers this year, although he does have the offensive line and running back situation with Jamal Williams and Swift. I think those 2 guys are going to be good for the Lions, and I think the offensive line is going to be actually good for the Lions. But if you really can't pass the ball down the field, I really don't see how you're going to win many games here. You're one-dimensional. You're only going to be running the ball. I'm sure San Francisco, the Packers, and the Baltimore Ravens are all going to know this, and the Chicago Bears are going to know this too. The only reason I think the Chicago Bears is probably a better team to actually get a win from them is because of all the quarterback controversy that's going on there and kind of what's going on with their defense. I really think that's probably really the only winnable game out of the 4. I really just don't see a win coming from San Francisco, Green Bay, and Baltimore. Now, a couple of people have said that I've heard rumblings that they think San Francisco is a winnable game because it's at home. I don't see that. I don't see Baltimore being a winnable game, and I don't see the Packers going to Lambeau and being a winnable game. And it's just that, guys. We have no linebackers. We have really no wide receivers. I mean, we do have linebackers and wide receivers. They're just not proven. It's a big question mark, and our secondary is still young. But I think Owarie, I think Okudah, and I think a couple other pieces that they have on that secondary will end up being pretty good, like Slay and Quandre Diggs were. But you guys know my feeling on those. I thought those were bad trades. Number one, even though they were saying, I heard of rumblings of being bad in the locker room. I really think at some point you kind of really have to sit down and talk to them like men and not kind of be the way Matt Patricia kind of took at that. But I don't want to kind of stray off and go on a Matt Patricia tangent here, but I really only see this first quarter, or the first 4 games, first quarter of the season really, only being 1-4 at best. At best, 1-4. And I think really the only winnable game is at Chicago. Now, coming along with this, you have Minnesota, Cincinnati, and you have the long-awaited Los Angeles Rams. Let me try to bring this down here so my mouse isn't kind of going all haywire on me. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles. This here, it's kind of a toss-up here. Minnesota, I don't know Minnesota's kind of situation. And there goes my mouse again here, guys. I apologize for that. I really don't know the situation in Minnesota, and I don't really know the situation in Cincinnati. And I don't know the situation in Philadelphia. Now, we all know the NFC East was bad, very, very bad. That's kind of a toss-up game. I think that's a winnable game in Philadelphia. I think it's a winnable game in Cincinnati, and I think it's a winnable game in Minnesota. But I actually think we're probably going to get our asses handed to us by Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. That's just my prediction. I really don't see this team. Actually, I don't see this team coming out of here instead of another 1-4 record going into the second half of the season and coming, or second half of the season, the second quarter of the season coming into the first half of the season. So what are we going to be 2-8 right now going into the second or the first half? Only 2-8. That's not really good. Your playoff implications are probably gone out the window. Which this time, guys, with Dan Campbell being the his first year coach, I really don't see the Lions even coming close or even sniffing the playoffs, at least right now. But I do think Minnesota is a winnable game, even though I think they're going to lose. I think that'll be a close game, but I think it'll end up being a loss. Cincinnati, I don't know their situation there. I'm not a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Some people in Cincinnati, or some people that are better off as the NFL as a whole, could probably tell me how Cincinnati could be. I don't see them being very good. So it's probably it'll be a competitive game. Los Angeles, I think, is going to be a blowout, and I think Philadelphia is probably a winnable game. That's why I'm only thinking 1-4. But you very well could have 2-2 here. So you really could be 3-7, or you could be 2-8, kind of coming into the into the first half of the season here. But with that being said, even if you're 3-7 or if you're 2-8, you're probably your playoff implications are probably out the window at this point. I think you're still trying to get the feel of your team at this point, although you probably have a really good feeling of how your team's going to react at the second half of the season here. Now, the second half of the season is going to have an extra game here, too. So kind of let's get into that part here. So coming into the third half, we have Week 9 is going to be a bye. Week 10, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I think is going to be a blowout. I don't think that'll be even a competitive game. Same with the Cleveland Browns. I think Cleveland is trending up. I don't see that as being a competitive game. Chicago is probably another winnable game because of the reasons I said before. And possibly the Minnesota Vikings could be the best. So here we have another 2-2 season, which now we're going to be, 3-4. We're a 5-9 kind of coming in here. So you may have a good sense of maybe trying to be a 500 team, but still I think your playoffs are kind of out the window, kind of way out in I think they're still kind of unreachable still at this point, even being at 5-9. I think your best bet is trying to strive for being 500 and possibly sniffing the playoff, but I still don't. That's best case scenario for the Lions is being 8-9, kind of 9-8, kind of right around there because it's a 17-game season starting this season. So I think I have 5-9. You're probably feeling pretty good as a Lions fan now. 5-9. You really shouldn't be feeling that great as a Detroit Lions fan, but given it's Dan Campbell's first season, that's probably the best case scenario. You're at 5-9 here. Then you're coming into the last 5 games, which is going to be the Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, the Atlanta Falcons, the Seattle Seahawks, and then ending with the Green Bay Packers here. So the last quarter of the season here, and now I'm saying the quarter of the season, even though it's at 5, the Denver Bronco game I think is a winnable game. So there's 6 wins. Arizona is up in the air. Atlanta, I think, is probably a winnable game here too. And Seattle's probably going to be a loss. But realistically, guys, I see a win by Denver, and it could be a loss. It very well could be a loss. I see a win by Denver. I think it's a loss by Arizona. I think it's also a loss at Atlanta. And I think it's going to be also a loss at Seattle. And then you come down here to the last part being the Green Bay Packers with another loss being at Ford Field. Depends on the Aaron Rodgers situation, what's going to happen there. But I think the Green Bay Packers are still too strong of a team to really to have the Lions actually really compete in either one of those games. So you're looking at probably 7-10 at best case scenario. I think it's realistic. 6 games is the ceiling. I think 7-10 kind of here is best case scenario. Even though I kind of said in some other chats, I thought 6 wins was the ceiling. Now I'm kind of looking at the schedule here. I'm thinking that 7 is the ceiling, really. And that thing, if everything works out perfectly for this team, which I don't think it will, I think your realistic goal here for Detroit is 3. I'm probably looking at 3-14 for the Lions, only because, and I don't want to be being a broken record. There's no wide receivers for Goff to throw to, so you're going to be a one-dimensional team. You really have no linebacking core. I mean, Tavai is still there from the draft from that, but I don't think he's kind of really the answer here, or he's just possibly could be one piece. Depends on how Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes kind of look at him. I don't know if he's going to still be a piece. Maybe he could be a piece for maybe for a lower contract. We're going to have to wait and see how this, or kind of still extending his rookie contract. Going to have to wait and see how that all plays out. And your secondary is still quite young. I think we're still going to be burned a lot by the long ball, especially going up against these better teams like Seattle. And if Aaron Rodgers is with the Green Bay Packers, you're going to see it burn there. You're going to see LA Rams burn us here with Matthew Stafford probably picking on the Lions secondary, since he knows that secondary probably pretty well. He knows what it's going to be, kind of what you're going to be expecting here, minus what he's known of before. But you probably can still know their tendencies and all that sort of stuff. So you're probably going to see them kind of get to the point of getting burned a lot. And possibly some of these other ones, maybe like the Atlanta and Matt, what's his name? I can't remember his last name. It escapes me right now. He'll probably burn us. Russell Wilson will burn us here for sure. I just don't think the secondary's quite ready to take that next step yet. Maybe by the end of this, the fourth quarter here of the season they could be, but it's really kind of a toss-up here, guys, and it's only speculation here too at this point. But with that all being said here, guys, I really don't see this team getting much more realistically 3 to 4 games. I'll put it out there. 3 to 4 games is our realistic, probably a realistic record, which would put us at 3-14, 4-13, right around there, because it's a 17-game schedule. Our best case scenario was 7-10, which is still a losing record. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have a lot of work to do, guys. They have a hell of a lot of work to do, especially with Matthew Stafford leaving. They probably didn't really, a lot of people probably didn't want to really come here. I don't know if Jared Goff is the answer. Apparently he's here for a few years, so we're going to have to roll with him here for a little bit. Maybe if Detroit can get a high enough draft pick, they'll probably try to get a quarterback for the future, like they did with Matthew Stafford. I don't think you're going to see Detroit kind of go along these retread type of quarterbacks trying to recoup some of their losses and all that sort of stuff. I think Sheila's kind of going to be a go-getter and try to get this team back to being competitive again. And that's the real thing that I want to get across to you guys. Even though we went all through the schedule here, that's the big takeaway here, is to try to get this team back up to where we all think the Detroit Lions should be. I think Detroit Lions should be in the NFC picture. In the NFC Championship picture, of course, because I think they're actually really better than what people kind of think this team is. That's my own personal opinion. Now, are we in a low spot right now? Yes. Have we had the best of luck with players kind of coming and leaving and with coaching and all that sort of stuff? No. But we should have a much better record of how this franchise is being ran. And and more or less, they're kind of the perception across the league. A lot of people I talk to on Twitter and all that is be like, look, first you got to have that team be relevant before any of the fan bases outside of the Detroit Lions are going to look at these guys and kind of be, wow, the Lions are actually a really competitive team. Now we know back when Detroit, and I was around back in the, what was it, the 91, 92 season, right around there, where the Detroit Lions were one win away from the Super Bowl from the then Washington Redskins kind of tearing right through us. In that 38-7 debacle in Washington at the NFC Championship game. But that team got us noticed. I will say a lot of people were, like, damn, that Detroit Lions team is pretty good. And kind of around in the mid-2000s, kind of right around there was talk about us competing with the Rams for the NFC Championship. And I think we can get back to that point too. But Brad Holmes, the coaching staff, Dan Campbell have to make good decisions with this football team. And it's even kind of sometimes making the tough decisions to letting some of these people go or trying to renegotiate their contracts to be more friendly so he can get more people in here. That's just the way this kind of how football works. And I know you guys know all this stuff too. I know I'm regurgitating what you guys have already known, but let's face it here, guys. We haven't had the best of luck here. I think management has kind of made bad decisions after bad decision after bad decision, and probably putting in their hands where it really shouldn't be here either, putting their 2 cents in and kind of overriding some decisions of the coaching staff and all that. I'm sure all that stuff's happened. We don't know what the extent of it is, but we know that that stuff's happened. But this team really should be in the upper echelon of the NFC, at least for this point in time. There's really no reason for this team to keep being in the basement. Seems to be year after year after year. And even if we get into the playoffs, we end up getting blown out in the playoffs. That should never be happening. Never, ever should be happening. But I don't want to kind of contaminate this video with all that. There's going to be struggles with this team this year. And I think your first 4 games are probably going to get you a flavor of in the preseason of kind of what Dan kind of wants to do here. You probably... that all the first 4 seasons, with maybe the exception of the 3rd season, which you can kind of get a flavor of how the offense is going to get ran. You're really looking at people to try to see who you're going to keep and who you're going to pass on, which to me, I'll probably skip on the preseason and kind of go directly into the regular season here. But guys, let me know what you guys kind of think down in the comments. Am I being too crude? I mean, do you think 3-13 is being a little bit unrealistic? Some people say 2-16. I think one of them said we could only win a game, which I don't think that's possible. I think this team is better than 1 win. Like I said, realistically, I think 3 or 4 games, winning games, are probably realistic here, which I think our best bet is probably within our own division of the Vikings and the Bears, trying to steal games from them and maybe get one from Denver, maybe get one from Arizona. We're just going to have to go ahead and see how this all plays out. But like I said, it's all speculation and predictions and all that sort of stuff. I very well could be wrong. We could go 10-6 or what? Not 10-6. We could go 10-7 or maybe even 11-6 or something like that and surprise everybody. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think realistically, guys, you're looking at 3 to 4 wins based on kind of what I see here and based on our draft and who we've got for our team as a whole. That's really what it is. We really need linebackers and we really need some wide receivers to help Jared Goff here. I think Jared's going to struggle this season, and the frustration's just going to come on. He's going to be like, oh God, man, this team sucks. Even though he may not say it publicly, I think you're going to see it in his body language, frustrations and things like that, to know how bad this team really is. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Put thumbs down if you don't. And also, guys, please consider subscribing, okay? And make sure you hit that bell notification so you guys get more videos just like this one. Until next time, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope to see you guys again soon. Deuces. Take care, guys.